speaker. Thank you, white lady. What's going on, my brother?
Got it. Thank you, Caucasian woman. What's going on? Man, it's been a while. It feels like we haven't done a podcast in like 2 months.
It feels
Even though
like
we
it,
just
right?
did one last week with Mike.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we did one last Monday, a week ago. Actually, a week ago today. Hey, man,
Yeah.
It's tough when this podcast hasn't gotten to the point yet where it financially supports us, and this is all we could do is talk shit. So we still got to pay bills and spend time with family. So it is what it is. But this is episode 199, JV. 120 with you.
God
Probably,
damn,
roughly.
I've done this. We've done this 120 times.
Yeah, we've at least spoken 120.
That's a lot of shit talking.
That's a lot of shit talking. And guess what?
Considering some episodes went like 2 hours.
I know. Like, recapping like a motherfucker. And guess what? Right after this intro, we're about to talk some more shit. Yo, what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway. Is it major?
Pues con eso.
Pues con español. ¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast. Right, lady. Yeah, man. So we're back at it again. Episode 199. Listen, man, we haven't done a recap. We haven't done a catch up in a minute because we had a guest on last time, and it'd be rude to do a recap with a guest.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Hey, before we start the recap,
yeah,
the white lady in Zoom that tells us the recording is starting and stopping.
Yeah.
What's her credit score?
8 billion, right?
8 billion, right? Yeah, for sure.
She's the white lady.
Everything's on credit. She doesn't spend any cash, right? Her house, her fucking shoes, everything's on credit.
It's almost
negative
like
interest.
She shows up and like do you know who I am? You know what I mean? Like she's the white lady shaking at Victoria's Secret. You know what I'm saying?
Do I even have to pull out the black card? Come on.
No, you know who I am. She walks in with like an entourage. You don't know the Zoom lady, bitch? Like you don't fuck you think this is? Listen, man. So what's been going on with you, bro? Let's catch up, man. I mean, we catch up, but let's catch up.
Quite a few things. On the the negative side, the sad side.
Yep.
We had a couple scares with my dog, my oldest one, Snowball, a little 8-pound ankle biter who's gonna be 15 in September. Man, he's for over a year now. He's showing signs of dementia where he'll in the middle of the night kind of just walk in circles, walk to his bed, walk back somewhere in a room and walk in circles. He's just like walking aimlessly, doesn't know where he's going, what he's doing. And that happens once a month, maybe twice a month. Man, he was doing that this past week a lot. And not only that, he had I'm going to use the term from all these crazy prescription drug commercials. Yeah, he had incontinence, but he had like uncontrollable anal leakage, is what we're going to call it.
Ooh, that's rough.
Fecal incontinence, I think it's what the proper term is. Yeah, it was terrible. Like the dude's just like, he's just walking and it's just coming out of him. It's just,
you can't
terrible.
do anything about it. Yeah.
There's no solid, nothing. I was like, I was scared. I was like, what is going on right now? Like there was one time last year where he squatted to take a crap and we made eye contact and he said, nah, I'm going right here. I tried to get your attention. You didn't let me out. So this is happening. And I couldn't stop looking at him while he took his shit. He was just like, that's it.
That's exactly
but this time it was scary, man. This time, it was scary. And he threw up like 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night. And he, not holding his food down. He's been better over the last couple of days. Today, he's better. We were going to take him to the ER or that's crazy, right? We're going to take, I'm telling you, pets get better medical care than human beings in this country.
100%.
And maybe, it's not cheap, but cheaper, I think. I mean, it won't fuck up your credit score, but it's definitely cheaper.
Depending if you're on week-to-week basis.
You're right.
Yeah. They get hit.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he's doing better now, but that was a scare. But we know that, we know it's around the corner. He'll be 15 in about a month and a half. So we've been preparing for this for a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. But, it's tough, man. Like I've had to in my lifetime. I think we've put 6 or 7 dogs down. I don't know if I've told you this story. The day that I got my job, the day like I did all the interviews and all that stuff. The day that I got my job and like they sent me in the offer. We had to put one of our dogs down. We had a little Yorkie,
Jesus,
little named Tiger. He had a bad blood infection. My mom just waited a little bit too long because you know what I mean. Like you just kind of like hope they turn a corner and get better. And I remember I'm sleeping in my room and I was like, "The fuck was that?" Like I hear this blood curdling scream, and it was the dog. So that like the next day, my mom had to like carry. Was like, "Look, he's done. Like we can't do. He's just in pain now." And it's tough, man. Because look, I think about it with my dog, right? Like this motherfucker right here that's on the other side. He's 3, right? He's young, but I don't know how long pit bulls last. I don't know how. I don't know many people who have had them. Maybe 10 to 13 years, right?
Right.
Like I can't imagine something going on with him. Like I freak out with him. Like this motherfucker's like cut himself before. Like he's ripped off his nails because he sprints too hard and he's bleeding everywhere. I was like, dude, hey man, you gotta calm the fuck down. Like he literally rips his nails off and you'll just see the quick. But seeing a dog like that, it hurts, man, because they're kind of like your children, right? Like in a way, like you've raised them, you walked them for 15 years. They've been around.
They're family, man.
They're family for sure, and it sucks, man. That's why I was like, yo, like whenever you want to do it, because if something happened with the family, like I'm not gonna make you. I'm saying do a pod, like that's some fucking crazy shit. But I'm glad he's doing better. Hopefully he gets better. But there is that reality where you're like, he's 15. And it sucks.
I mean, the whole like the barking. Obviously, we've dealt with it in the podcast. I think you probably heard it as soon as this pod started. I don't know if you heard him upstairs or not. I did. I picked it up. Yeah. But when I used to do the podcast upstairs, and I had no door, like you clearly hear them, and I'm like, I would jokingly like look at him and be like, I'm going to murder you. I'm going to commit doggy homicide, bro. It was so bad. Yesterday morning, I think it was, or this morning, when I took him outside, and every time he sees anything, especially other dogs, he'll bark. Like he'll sit in the living room and he just looks out the window waiting for someone to walk by. And he was out front, and there was a couple walking.
He got that dog. Wish factor. He's got that.
He tried to bark, nothing came out.
Oh, that's hard, bro.
He was like, I was like, come on, please bark. I was like hoping that the fucking bark would come out. Like, come, please bark. Yeah. He was, that shit broke my heart as a golf. Like tough, he was trying so hard and nothing would come out.
That's tough.
That's the part that I was like, oh shit, okay, this, I was kind of scared. Like that was almost put it over the top with everything else. I'm like, oh shit, like what happened? His vocal cords are fucked up or something.
Yeah.
But he's been recovering. I think he probably went in the backyard, ate something or something, bit him or whatever.
Yep.
He's always, like his flea medication, heartworms. We keep that stuff updated. Like I said, like they get better care than most people in this country do. But with that age and any little thing here or there, plus he has stomach issues, he takes special food for his kidney. Right. It's just a matter of time before something gets back. Thing.
Yeah, dude, I had a scare with Drax. I don't want to say like a year ago, right? I didn't know this was gonna be like a sad dog segment, but
bro, this will be it, and we'll move on. We'll move on. Yeah, we'll move on. Rainbows and unicorns.
But this motherfucker like is a heavy chewer, right? And one day he was just out there with us, and I think we were like doing yard work, and he was just eating a bunch of like limbs and branches and shit, right? So like just eating them the fuck up. So that night, we're in bed getting ready to go to sleep. We just hear him start throwing up. Like, what the fuck? Dude, he that night in like a span of an hour and a half threw up 18 times. Like all throughout the house. Damn. And I was like, how the fuck do you still have anything left? Like he was just walking around the house puking. We're just following him with like, you know what I'm saying? Like paper towels and plastic bags. We're like, yo, like if he pukes again, like if we start seeing blood, we're gonna have to make a run. Like, right? Like this, we can't do this shit anymore. And I was like, fuck, man. And then it threw me back to like all my childhood dogs that we've had to put down and all this shit. I was like, part of me was like, this is why I didn't want a dog. Like I always wanted my own dog. But it's like this is why the moments were like I didn't want a dog. But we got this motherfucker now and he's licking his balls if he had any at this moment, so he's fine. But yeah, man.
Yeah, this is it. We're not getting any more. We have Mojo, and Mojo's Mojo turned When was he born? November 2013.
Okay.
Shit. So he's going on. He'll be 8 this year.
Yeah.
So he'll be getting up there too. I mean, he's still fairly young. 7, almost 8 is still pretty young, but he's halfway there. Man, I'm not putting myself through that. We're not putting ourselves through that anymore. Never again. Like, we're gonna have to deal with it twice, and it's enough. Sucks. I don't want to do this. So yeah,
it's enough. That is why we drink, right? Like, keeps it light and fun, and then we just drink bourbon and talk shit. Yeah, man. Dogs are
Wednesdays. Even though it's Monday, it's a whiskey Wednesday somewhere. Yeah, like, man. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's Wednesday somewhere, even though it probably isn't. At best, it's Tuesday. Like, it's Tuesday in Japan.
I believe in the multiverse. It could be Wednesday in like Earth 52.
It could be Wednesday.
5 o'clock Wednesday. Yeah.
It's probably Wednesday like in Earth 49
Earth
11.
52. Every day in Earth 52 is Wednesday.
That's a lot of drinking.
Wednesday.
They never run out, too. That's a lot of drinking.
Yo, it's always after 5 o'clock.
I gotta watch the doc you were telling me about on Netflix about the bourbon heist. I want to watch it because it was all Pappy, right? They were trying to steal all Pappy. I did not know Pappy was that expensive, bro. Like, I'm never buying that shit for the pod.
What, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a bottle? Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening, bro. Like, unless we get sponsored, shout out, please, Pappy Van Wink, hit us up, let us know. We will gladly taste it.
Got Buffalo Trace. Yeah. Look us up.
I will add that to the long list of, I think, 14, 15 bourbons that I tried at a friend of mine's bourbon tasting. Listen, brother.
Yeah. Brother. Congratulations on the segue, on a good segue there. Finally, right? A great segue.
Right.
You beat me to it.
It only took 120 episodes, but we're here. You know what I mean? Sometimes the writing just hits.
Look, Ma, we made it.
We made it. What the fuck did this dog just run off to? Oh, he's literally right here. But yeah, man, look, we went to a bourbon tasting last Saturday. Not this Saturday past, the one before. My wife was like, look, let's just go. It was an hour and a half away. My boy Matt, that hopefully will get on the podcast soon, been constantly inviting me. I was like, fuck, bro, 3-hour trek is a lot, especially if I'm going to be drinking. Imagine driving back, or obviously wife drove back. But man, like, trying all the different bourbons from like the weeded to the rye to the straight bourbons was an experience, because I haven't had, I think the Maker's Mark and the Four Roses are like weeded, if I'm correct on that. Like, the rye was a little bit better. Like, I tried a Whistle Pig.
Well, Maker's Mark is for sure. I think Four Roses is as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the Whistle Pig was a solid bourbon. Like, that Whistle Pig, I think the 12-year was delicious. And the Buffalo Trace single barrel, the first one we had, if you're going to try one next, I would say try that one. I don't know the cost of it, because the tax bracket that my boy Matt is at is a little bit different than the tax bracket I'm currently at. So his $25,000 worth of bourbon is a little different than mine, where he has like a fucking bourbon room. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. It's a little different, but man, what a great experience. We just literally just talked bourbon, like all the different distilleries and the trip they just went on, and learning all this shit about it was just an experience, man. I absolutely loved it. I didn't get drunk because it was just like a tasting, just enough to like wet your beak, and you try on the next one, you kind of break it down, like, oh, like, what are you tasting? There was a few that I didn't like at all. I was like, yeah, I'm never having. I think I had the Whistle Pig 10-year that I wasn't a fan of. It tasted a little minty, and I hate fucking mint. Hate it. Like,
so what is it about the ones that you didn't like? Besides the minty one, what is it? Is it the ones that were rye, or like the ones that had more rye content in it, or what is it? Did they have anything in common?
I think the ones that had more rye in it were just, to me, felt a little bit like, look, I don't know how to like describe it to that palate level, like, right?
Spicier.
It was a little kick. It felt heavier. I mean, it had more of a kick. Like, yeah, and it was weird because like I'm talking like 7 or 8 tastings in, right? So you're thinking like your esophagus and everything's already gotten coated and you're good, but like even then after that I was like, fuck. But then you got to remember, like, the proof is going to be a little bit higher, so we slowly climbed up higher and higher. I think we got to like 120 proof, and then we were slowly climbing up. So it was a great experience, man. I wish I could have stayed longer, because I had to drive all the way back home. I had shit to do back here, and I wasn't going to drive back home at 11 o'clock at night, fucking 90 minutes. So, and even after that, like, I left, and I think I missed like 5 or 6 more rounds. And then after that, they did like a blind tasting to like really figure out what your palate was. So I was like, yo, next time we do this shit, I'm just gonna get a hotel by here, so I don't have to worry about the drive and like get a pet friendly hotel so I could bring Drax and shit.
Yeah, a responsible alcoholic.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's right. Because where you got to do it, man. I'm not gonna get a fucking DUI. I lose my job. Fuck out of here.
Damn right.
Can't have that happen. But yeah, I definitely want to try more bourbon.
Damn, 17. I thought it was gonna be 8 or 9. Are you sure that was just like you had 8 or 9 additional ones after the official tasting?
No. We tried. Matt was the CEO, the chairman, the person in charge. So he was the one picking. He was the one picking the bourbons. So that's how I know. You know, what I mean, it wasn't just us grabbing random shit because that's his bourbon. These are $100, $200. You know what I mean? Like these are expensive bottles. Like you're not just gonna do that shit. I wouldn't want somebody walking in my house and just serving themselves some bourbon. You know what the fuck are you doing? Like,
oh, of course.
Slow down. So he would pick them like, oh, let's try this one, and I would see him like pondering, like, oh, if we try this one with that, then like we talk about it, it's like, oh, we try this one with this kind of food and that. Like it was cool. I definitely want to go to Kentucky to go check out the distilleries though. Maybe we do that like one weekend, meet up in Kentucky.
Bourbon Row.
Yeah. Do Bourbon Row. I'll fly up there and you're gonna probably drive. Isn't that the next state over for you? I don't know geography shit.
Yeah, sort of. It's like Ohio hits. I drive through Kentucky, I think, and then Tennessee. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
all these states are the same.
Yeah, so I fly there, and then that way we don't have to get a rental car, and then when you pick me up from the airport, then we just get a chauffeur.
Are you crazy? That's still like I used to make that drive to Tennessee, which was like
we're not going to Tennessee.
Where I lived in Tennessee was about 4. I don't know, but where I lived in Tennessee was about 45 minutes from Nashville, and that was like an 8.5-hour drive. So depending where we go in Kentucky, it's still going to be a drive. I don't know if I want to drive 6 hours.
Well, then fly.
Especially if we're going to be drinking bourbon, like fuck it, we'll just fly, and then I'll drink bourbon, and then Uber, and then back to the airport.
There's actually I already got a hookup for us. There's a guy that is basically like Uber for the bourbon stuff that my boy Matt has the number of, and we just like get his number, call him, text him, and he's like a super VIP guy. You know what I mean? Like takes us everywhere. We get everywhere early, have crazy experiences. So I would already have the hookup for that. I think it'd be dope as fuck to do, like fly in on a Friday. You know what I mean? Do it Saturday, Sunday, because it's a quick flight, right? Like it's fucking Kentucky. Like it's probably like an
Saturday, Sunday. What the fuck? I'm drinking Friday. We're flying in Friday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's what I'm saying. No, we're drinking right away. No, 100%. We need to look into that. I'm dead serious about that shit. That'd be dope as fuck to do. Maybe I get a Parrilla to join us and we have like a whole guys trip, man. We need to do shit like that.
Hey, look, I wanted to tell you that Mel commented on our logo.
Okay.
So, like she says it looks really good.
Yeah, everybody says you look as tall as me.
I guess you should. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Eric, my brother, he was like, "Yo, why is John as tall as Ben? You need to mind your fucking business, dude. I love you, bro, but you need to keep that shit to yourself."
That's the first thing everybody said. That's the first thing Danny said. I was like, yo, I couldn't have it. I know I'm a foot taller than you, but I can't. But you know, like the disparity.
Danny hasn't even met me. Danny, what the fuck are you talking about, Danny? I could be like 6'8", man. What the fuck? You don't even know how tall I am, Danny. Never met.
6'8", 6'8" out here in these streets.
I could be like 7'2" Yao Ming. Come on.
But everybody's like, I was like, yo, like I couldn't have that height disparity. It just wouldn't look good. So when I was like, yo, make him the same size as me. The logo came out fire though, man. I absolutely love it. And dude, I could not hold off on it, man. Like it was just like, it just kept. I was like, yo, you got to put it out there. You got to put it out there. So I'm happy as shit with it. I'm glad we both decided that it was good, and it was ready to go. Oh, speaking of another thing that my boy, before we move on to the next, that my boy recommended that he had in his bourbon room is this right here. You see that? Wait. It's a bourbon Bible.
The Bourbon Bible, okay.
It has a breakdown of all the bourbons and distilleries with a history, and then it also includes bourbon cocktail recipes. Let me tell you something. I learned a lot. Like I watched a documentary on Hulu, and now reading this, like I'm in a couple pages in, like it has a breakdown of alcohol by volume and the distillers and the history. Highly recommend it. It's $14 on Amazon, so for sure get it, bro. I think you'd find it interesting, especially that doc too. But yeah, man, dude, it was a good experience. All it did was like make me want to drink more bourbon, and not in like an alcoholic way, and like a quote unquote tasteful way. I don't want to, because I don't think bourbon is like one thing that you like. I just want to get fucked up because that shit'll burn you. You know what I mean? Like you gotta like slow step it. Yeah.
I mean, people do it, but I I don't know how you could just do shots of whiskey or bourbon, whatever. You can do that real easy, but
Yeah.
I much prefer to sip on it and enjoy it. And that's not a sentence that I thought I would be saying, 2-3 years ago. Oh, I'll sip on some bourbon and enjoy it and savor it. Like that shit is nasty. But then I went from whiskey to bourbon, and I was like, okay, this is different.
Yes.
And I can't sip it, and I can really like taste it. It's not just pure gasoline, fucking burning, like burning, my taste buds.
Do you think that's a sign of like us getting older? Like on some real shit, like not even like joking. Like
I think it's a sign of us being fucking drunks and just finding an excuse to drink bourbon.
Yeah, that too. But like I remember my dad.
Stop trying to be more sophisticated than we are. Stop trying to give yourself more credit. We're getting older. Our palates are mature. We can appreciate the fine things of life. Now we're fucking drunks.
Notice
I
said
we just
older.
find an excuse to drink bourbon.
I said older, never mature. That's not who we are as people. Because I remember my dad. Like my dad would take me with him when I was younger. He would take me to like the bar, and he would be drinking whiskey, right? Because that's all everything was called. Or the Tomando Wiki.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, am I at that stage? Because I was like, if I do the math, like it's roughly around the same age that he was and I, you know what I mean, and I was. I was like, fuck, am I at that stage where like I'm becoming my dad? Because I don't want that at all. That's not a good look. I don't want that problem, bro. I know how that ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I was around that too. And it wasn't even whiskey, it was just straight beer, but it was straight fucking like cases of beer and shit. Like, it takes it. So no, I mean, I've never, with the exception of when I was younger and I got fucked up, and it was like straight vodka and orange juice at a college party.
Screwdrivers.
Underage drinking.
All day.
I
was drunk as fucking.
It was rough. It was a rough trip from the second floor of my apartment, of the apartment who's the party I was at, to my apartment directly below on the first floor. I was hanging onto that fucking railing for dear life.
Never hold on to anything tighter.
Probably had about 20 steps.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about how many steps were in my house. Yeah, that shit it felt like it had about 45 steps trying to make it down from the second to the first floor.
Dude, do you remember?
I mean, look, big gulp, 7-Up cups. I had at least one, maybe 1.5, just sitting down, fucking playing card games.
Yep.
3 a.m. comes around.
And you're 122 pounds.
Right back down.
You're like 100.
Bro, at that time, I probably was like 125.
Yeah.
At that time, I was.
I wasn't
like
joking.
125. I just finished running cross country. I was freshman in college. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never again. Never been fucked up. Wife. She tells that to everyone. She's like, Mel's like, I've never seen him drunk because I don't get drunk. Like I'll drink whiskey and then I sip it because I don't like to get to be out of control.
Correct.
Like I know what that was, and I wasn't belligerent on anything, but I was just like I wasn't in control of what was going on around me, and I was like, oh, I don't like this feeling.
Dude, I'll tell you some funny. Like the couple of times that I've gotten a little tipsy on the pod, like when we used to do the longer shows, and it would be like 3 or 4 glasses in, like after, like I would almost feel guilty. That like I drank so much that like I'll start doing shit around the house. You know what I mean? Like I started like doing laundry. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like I'm 36, 37 years old. Like I can't be drinking like this. I got bills and shit. I was like, mind you, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like for the most, I'm like in a t-shirt and basketball shorts doing a podcast, and I'm just talking shit with my best friends. And I was like, the fuck is wrong with me? Then I'm like, I'm feeling nice. Then like it hits me. I was like, what did I drink that much? It was fucking crazy. But yeah, I don't. Melanie was like, you drinking more now than you ever drank before. Yeah, thanks for playing our own intro during the pod. But she's like, you're drinking more now than ever. I was like, oh yeah, because I went from 0 to like 4 glasses of bourbon a week. You know what I mean? That's if we do 2 pods. Like I drink 2 during the show and then 2 during another show. Unless we go long, then it could get a little hairy. But I try to keep it cool.
That's why we try to limit these podcasts to fucking 60-minute episodes.
Yeah, 100%. Because we could start
doing this and do 2-hour episodes like we used to do. Like I think back then we were drinking Tennessee honey.
Yeah, that was
like,
baby
okay,
shit.
we can get away with a couple.
Yeah,
glasses.
that was baby shit. Now that's
yeah.
I don't know if I could go back to that, Jay. I can't go. I don't know if I could go back to Tennessee.
I tried it. It doesn't taste the same. Like before, I was like, "This is delicious," and I tried it not long ago, and I was like, this is like just flavor liqueur. Like I just don't. I don't.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
I I can't do it.
What do you think is gonna be your next purchase? Because I know you're not buying into the level that like I've been buying it, right? Like not level, not to say like prices, because besides that $190 bottle, I try to keep it under 50, maybe under 60. So like at that Heaven Hill that I haven't tried yet that I bought for a gift for Matt because I didn't want to show up empty handed. Like, what do you think is gonna be your next purchase?
I mean, I've been on the Reddit boards and I got someone that can get me a bottle of Pappy for $2,500. So I think that might be it.
You'll never spend $2,500.
No,
You'll never spend $2,500. No. You'll never spend $2,500 on a bottle, bro. That's so insane, bro.
No.
That $90 hurt.
That
90 hurt, bro. Like, and then he was like, what the fuck is that's 2 times I could fill up my gas. Like, I started thinking about shit like that. Like, what the fuck? Why would I buy a $90 bottle that didn't end up being that good?
No. So I want to take a little detour, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. When I was in Virginia a few weeks ago, we went to Mel's, her nephew's daughter's first birthday party.
Gotcha.
And we were at his in-laws' house, and like their in-laws, own some businesses or whatever. And he was showing me like their, how some people have a china cabinet or whatever they display their china.
Yeah.
The father-in-law, and the father-in-law wasn't showing it, but her nephew was. He's like, hey, come check this out, since you're always drinking bourbon or whatever. Nothing but like Hennessy, Cavassier, whatever, like $800 bottles, $1,200 bottles, just bottle after bottle, like, I don't know, 5-6 shelves.
Right.
$10,000, $15,000 of like just Hennessy, of cognac, right. Different ones. He's like, this bottle right here is like $1,500. I was like, what?
The same.
And they break out bottles to drink. He's like, oh yeah, we were drinking one the other day, and like he broke it out to celebrate, I don't know what, to celebrate a fucking Sunday or something, a barbecue, $800 bottle. Yeah. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite at that point.
I'm gonna be honest.
And I don't have a taste for cognac either. I've never liked.
I don't have a taste for cognac or a brandy. Right? Like I can't fuck with Scotch. Don't disrespect anybody who likes Scotch. I just can't. Like I've never been a red label, blue label guy. Like it's just not never. I've tried those because I've known. Like I grew up in Miami. I always had those friends that like spent money before they had it. You know what I mean? So like I've tried it, but it's never been my thing. It's never been my thing. Maybe. Look, I was younger. Maybe I could try it now, but I don't know if I could go from like a bourbon to a Scotch. I don't know. It's just that's not my thing. So we'll see.
No, I mean, like we've talked about it before. I've said it before. Bourbon is like what the introductory to whiskey for some people, and people move on from bourbon to like, the rye to just like, straight Kentucky straight whiskey or whatever, and then maybe they move on to like Irish whiskey or something. But bourbon is like when you're talking about wines like Merlot, that's what you introduce people with. It's easier to drink. But I don't know that I need to move on from bourbon. There's so many different types of bourbon, so many different like mash bills.
Yes. And
I enjoy drinking it. So why do I need to move on to Irish whiskey or Scotch, which that'll never happen. I've tried it. I just can't. I can't do it. I sipped on some Scotch a few years ago because I was sitting at a bar one time after a Cavaliers game.
When you're like, and you try, you're like, okay. You're like you're trying to get it on your lips. It was like, oh, this does not taste good. This is just not a good experience.
I mean, look, the one that I had was good, but God, it was $25 or $30 for that glass. It was like a group of like
not that good
retirees or teachers or whatever. Like they bought me one because I was like sipping on something. Like, oh, I was trying to find some good whiskey.
Right.
And so they recommended something, and so they bought it. Like, $25 a glass. I could imagine how much the bottle was.
Yeah.
It was all right, but I think it took a little bit of effort to kind of sip it and enjoy it.
Yeah. It's a process. Like, look, it's especially drinking with professionals, like not professional, I guess you could say alcoholic, but people who know their shit about bourbon, like, and like learning about it and processing, it's a lot easier to drink than just like picking one off the rack. You know what I mean? Like that, I'll say it, like that Woodford Reserve, that not the double oak. Allegedly, haven't had it yet, but the double oak's like 80 to $90 depending on where you go. Like the straight up, like the generic great value, you know what I mean, off the rack Woodford Reserve.
Great value bourbon. I'm not having that shit.
Yeah, that's the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like the not the like a single barrel or a single batch, anything like that. I'm saying like the straight, just Woodford Reserve. Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan of it. right? And this is something else I learned. If you didn't know, John, or any of our listeners, single batch is like a multitude of barrels thrown in together that they call a batch. Like there's no number specifically, and a single barrel is just one barrel that they pick from like their honey hole or whatever it is to drink from. So
right,
I learned that too, and I also learned that from the Neat documentary on Hulu, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it to check it out. It's interesting. It's good shit.
okay.
But yeah, man, bourbon is. I don't know if we'll look. It's on our logo, right? We can't go from bourbon infused to like Scotch infused. That just seems like a betrayal. You know what I mean?
Miller High Life infused.
Oh my god, never, dude. Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Mad Dog. Infused, no.
Fucking the whole thing.
PBR infused.
They got a nice IPA podcast. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm sure some IPAs are great, just not my thing. It tastes like a really cold / warm milkshake. I don't like that. It seems weird. It seems weird.
Michelob Ultra infused, the low carb podcast.
Michelob 45. It's only 45 calories, guys. That's it. Oh my god, we're fucking stupid. Listen, man, there's a lot we need to catch up on as we digress. We move on. We henceforth it. I don't know if that's a good segue to say henceforth, but fuck it, we're rolling with it. But look, we haven't talked about the whole ESPN thing. So if you happened like a week to 10 days ago.
A lot going on over there.
It's a lot going on over there. Shout out to Dan Le Batard for leaving, huh? Like let's just take a second and appreciate Dan Le Batard leaving. Even though Mike Ryan, if you're watching this, I'm gonna send you this clip. Hey bro, StreamYard, you could customize your fucking countdowns and intros. I'll help you out. Send your boy an email and give us a shout out on your fucking podcast now, because we with it.
Look, man, he was a producer on a major sports network, and now he's a producer on Meadowlark Media. I think they know what the fuck they're doing.
I know, but hey, look,
I think they'll figure it out.
I know, but seeing that countdown, I was like, as soon as I saw that countdown when like they're doing the reaction videos of the finals, I was like, I know that countdown. I know what you're using.
Yeah, I was like, that's fucking StreamYard. I know that shit.
Yeah, I know that shit. You probably got the pro, you son of a bitch. Yeah, you rich fucks. Whatever. Hey, man,
I mean, they got a $50 million deal with DraftKings, so they can afford to pay the $2,500 a year or whatever the pro is.
Yeah, they're good. They're all set.
Those customized boxes. Yeah.
Do you think, completely shut on the dark question, do you think Le Batard knew something was coming? Because I don't know if you saw, we'll go into like the rest of the ESPN shit, but like I don't know if you saw the conversation that like Jamel Hill and Amino Hassan had with Dan Le Batard about that. I saw it. Yeah, it was interesting, right? Where like, I think the one point that I hadn't realized till they said it was like, yeah, like on TV we seem real diverse, right? Like the anchors, the reporters, right. But behind the scenes,
look at everyone else.
Yeah, they didn't say this. I'm gonna say, like, it gets real white. It gets real white back there, and I don't. Yeah. Like, look, two Latinos, right? Like we've talked about it. You're white passing. I'm more. Oh, what the fuck is he? Type of situation, right? But like I honestly hadn't thought of it. Like I'm thinking like, oh, if they have people, they have these people, you know what I'm saying, Middle Eastern, Indian, fucking black, from all races, all colors, all everything. Right. That's probably what they have working. You know what I'm saying? Just logically, that's the connection I would make. That's how good they.
But it's just the on-air talent. That's
all
they
it
look
is.
Diverse.
They look diverse, and isn't that kind of bullshit though? Like, if you could hire the people to be the face of your company, like a Stuart Scott, you know what I mean, and go down the line of other ESPN anchor talents, like, couldn't you also hire that person in stats? And this would have been a great question for Mike, but I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, put him in that weird position. It was like,
right, yeah, I mean, he worked in the industry, so
he worked in the industry, but like, and it's not an attack on like on the way. Like, look, the best person for the job should always get the job. That's my belief forever. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. But it's like, it's interesting where like where you're a public company like that, how you can't have like diversity across the board. And I'm sure, like, look, I'm sure there's like, it's more mixed in the lower levels, right, of that pyramid. Let's put it that way. But like once you go higher, I'm sure the herd thins and thins and thins out, right?
But that's the problem. That's the problem with every company across the board.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a problem, but that's what you find, right? That in the lower levels, maybe it's mixed.
Diverse as fuck. Yeah.
But when you go up to these levels where you're making decisions, decision-making positions in the C-suite offices, these executive level and CEOs and C-suite type positions, you don't see that diversity, whether it's Black, Latino, women, gay, trans, whatever. Like that diversity isn't there in those decision-making positions. So I think that's a problem. Like, yeah, sure, we have a bunch of fucking guys that in the mailroom we have men, women, Black, white, Latinos, gay, trans, but then when you move out of the mailroom, then we don't see anyone. Mm-hmm. We don't see that diversity. When we're looking at producers and showrunners, showrunners, that this is like network TV and stuff, you don't see that diversity.
Yeah. I wonder.
So I think that's the problem.
Not I wonder. Like, I just want to pose this question to you, right? Like, why is that? Like, why is it a historical thing? Is it a just was like, oh, does it go back to like, I remember there was a big time gambler who said, and he was also like a commentator for boxing or some shit. And he, I think it was like not Swami, but like Jimmy the Greek, right? Where he said some shit like, this is like Jimmy 40. He was like 40 years ago. He goes like, Black people just have like an extra muscle in their in their legs. That's why they can't. You know what I mean? That's why they run so much faster. But also like you have the stuff of like but also why they're not as smart. You know what I mean? That's why they can't be in positions of power. Like, and it's weird. It was like because he was just speaking to it to like the most racist core of it, where it was just Black people, as if Hispanics, like Asians, all these other minorities just get brushed aside. And it was just interesting. I was like, man, like when you look at these things with a couple weeks break and really process it, I think it's always a better conversation and a better understanding than just like the quick take, hot take, like, oh, Rachel Nichols is of course racist.
In the heat of the moment, you're emotional and
like it's just because like you don't get to hear other people's thoughts and have it fleshed out. And like, oh, okay, that's interesting, but and then you get like to hear different dynamics and different perspectives. So like it gives you a more full picture. You know what I mean? Like you have Andrew Schultz talking about it, so on and so forth. Like, okay, this I see your point here, but what do you think about this? And you know what I mean? Not posing these questions to them, but just thinking about it through the lens of us, and then like also hearing others' perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I read the comments, and this was something that happened over a year ago, actually, and it's just coming to light now. But it was reported over a year ago.
Shout out to Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and so shout out to Jimmy Butler. Hey, this hasn't been proved, right? Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Anyway,
I just want to say he got the heat to the finals. That's all I'm saying. That was a shout out to Jimmy Butler. That was it. Anything else that could be
forgetting the heat to the finals. Yeah, gotcha.
Winning 2 games with no Bam or Goran Dragic. Shout out to Jimmy Butler, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy Butler for let's getting it in.
Yeah,
on the basketball court.
Yes. Being exhausted, just having
game.
He got game. All right. Yeah, let's go. Jesus Shuttlesworth out there.
No. So Jesus Shuttlesworth. No, but so I read what she said, and the recorded conversation that shouldn't have been recorded. And I think I think it was like a 54-minute clip of that conversation that Dan had with Jamel and Amin, and he talks about the software they use and how it's run by someone else.
Yeah.
So someone left that on, and violated her privacy, right? So, and like Dan talked about, like everyone jumped to the whole she's racist, this and that, and everyone forgot about the violation of privacy.
Yeah.
And when this came out, I don't know Jamel Hill, I don't know Rachel Nichols, except for their personalities on TV and on the radio.
Maria Taylor, and
Maria Taylor, right? And I like Jamel Hill because of what she brings to the table, and that's probably one of the reasons, or the reason why she was pushed out of ESPN, because she's a Black woman, she's an outspoken Black woman.
Too much. That's too much. That's 2 strikes.
And she had her own show, and she was on Sports Center, and it's just too much for her to. People didn't like that.
Yep.
And she was done wrong. I think she's the one that like bore the brunt of she's had it worse than a lot of people.
Yes.
I've seen Maria Taylor, not a whole lot.
Typically, black women tend to be the brunt of it because they're already black and they're already women. That's 2 strikes against them.
Yeah, she's a woman. She's a black woman, and she's an outspoken black woman.
Yeah,
and
like that's the worst kind. Like people that's the worst kind of woman to be, right? That. Like, fucking assholes. All right, sorry.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, that's a reality. It's fucked up. Yeah, but 100%. Unfortunately, like people don't like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what people. I'm just gonna say people don't like that. Maria Taylor, I've seen her. She's talented. She's good at what she does. Incredibly talented. Rachel Nichols. Yeah, incredibly talented. Rachel Nichols, great at what she does.
Yes.
I thought that her comments when I first read this, I had to sit down and sort of, you know how you said it's good to wait a week or 2 weeks when you're removed. I sort of try to go through that process immediately in my head. Like I said, hold on, let me kind of. That day I read it, I was like, let me sit down, let me take a step back before I say he's fucking racist and really
you actually gave me a different perspective. You actually gave me a different perspective, yeah, for sure.
And that perspective may be right or it may be wrong, but so what I told you was what Rachel Nichols said, which was, like, hey, look, you guys, I get it. You want to promote Maria, you want to give her this and that.
Just diversity hire.
You have a shitty, but it wasn't diversity hire. It was like you have a shitty diversity record, so you want to make up for it. And so like I never took it as her saying Maria wasn't deserving. She just said, don't fucking take my property for it. Like don't take my piece of real estate.
Yep.
Because I've already fought as a woman.
Yep.
And now you're gonna try to like just give it away when it was, I guess, supposed to just happen in contract negotiations or talks where like certain things were promised. Yeah. And so I don't think
that's where the fuck up
Maria
was.
Taylor was undeserving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Jamel nailed it. I think she said it's on management. And the conversation was that Jamel and kind of Amin were having, right? Amin, he said, for lack of a better term, he's gonna put on the cape because he knows Rachel, and he's like, I don't think she meant it that way.
No, I know
who she is. I know her as a person, and she was saying, hey, it's my real estate. I fought. I might be white, and I'm a white woman, but I'm still a woman. I'm that minority. I mean, she's still, compared to everyone else, you could say, for lack of a better term, she's had it easier than say a black woman or a black man or Latinos or any other minority. Yeah, right. She's still a woman. She has to fight through things. She had to, and she earned every bit of, what she has, and running her shows and that's where she was coming from. Like, you're trying to take this away from me because you have a shitty record and now you're trying to give it to her. Not that Maria was undeserving, but it was more like, yes, give her something, but don't take away from me because you have a shitty diversity record and you're trying to make up for it. But my take was, or what I told you was, it's not even about racism. It's about the business that you're in.
Yes.
I said, you are great at what you do, Rachel Nichols, but you're 47 years old. Mm-hmm. You've had, or 45, I forget how, I looked it up. You've had 2 kids. And now this is not me personally. Okay. This is like looking at it from an executive, from these people that put someone on TV, and
you're the old dog.
And what you're supposed to look like and what they want people to look like on TV.
Yeah.
Right. You put on some weight. Mm-hmm. You don't look like you used to anymore. These are but you still put on some weight.
Uncomfortable conversations.
These are uncomfortable things to say in conversations. Again, these are things that obviously I noticed. Doesn't affect the fact that I think she's great. She deserves to be in the spot that she's in and have all these great accolades and shows and responsibilities and get paid.
It's the way media sees
whatever.
Women.
Stephen A. Smith money.
Yeah.
But this is how people view
women. Yeah, they have
like
to stay.
Anyone in that industry, but especially women. Women aren't allowed to age. No. Like men can age gracefully. That's what we do, right? We age gracefully, and women, unfortunately, aren't allowed to age. That's 100%. Why I can say I'm not gonna fucking like all this gray shit. I'm just gonna leave it because I can do that because we have that benefit, and it's fucked up.
It is.
Rachel Nichols has to say a redhead, whether that shit is dyed or not. That's what she has to be.
Yeah, she always has to look the same as she did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and that's my take. You can't look like you're 47. You got to look like you're still 27, like you're still 15 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Maria Taylor is 34. Maria Taylor is fit. Maria Taylor looks young. She's younger, and then
former pro athlete
to look younger. She's a former pro athlete. And so you're both great. You're both great at what you do. She looks better on camera. That's how I took it. Like why they're giving Maria Taylor all these other things. It's not for, it could be because they have a shitty track record for diversity. Right. But I just think it's like, no, it's a better looking product for TV and sure. And also the diversity part. But I think I was just looking at it from that perspective of how people look at, television and this ridiculous ideal of what you're supposed to look like or what women should look like.
I don't think in any way whatsoever. I mean, look, I can't say that. Let me backtrack immediately off that.
Look, if Maria Taylor wasn't talented, this would be a non-issue. But they're both talented, and then she's got all those other things.
But the mistake was
that I mentioned.
The mistake was the lack of diversity in the boardroom, right? Like the people making the decisions were like when you have somebody in there with like equal power, but a different perspective of life, right? You get like if they say, look, we're gonna say this, give this to Rachel Nichols. Hey, no, but didn't you just promise that to Maria Taylor? Think about how that's gonna look, right? Because ESPN has had a big think about how it's gonna look problem, right? You go back to Stephen A. Years ago when he said, look, sometimes women make you mad and they kind of deserve being hit, right? Back when and Michelle Beadle talked about it. Yeah, I remember all this shit. Yeah, Michelle Beadle talked about it because she was in a domestic violent relationship. She's a victim of domestic abuse and like all this stuff. And like he was like suspended for a week, but then somehow right after that got a bigger contract than he did before. Then just got that contract supplemented over and over and over again. Like, and you're right with what you said. Like, if you're a man, you can age quote unquote gracefully on television. As a woman, you can't do that. Like, we're just gonna act like Stephen A's hairline hasn't receded more than anything more than LeBron's before LeBron brought it back.
LeBron's.
Yeah, LeBron brought that shit back though. You know what I mean? Like and Rachel Nichols still looks good, 45 years old. Stephen A looks like shit, but Stephen A gets rewarded with biggest contract in ESPN history. Rachel Nichols is now made out to be like the bad person when it was management that put her in that position to make her look like a racist. If you don't think about or listen to the entire conversation, she was promised that spot. Then they took it away because Maria Taylor's coming up on a fucking contract extension time.
A contract. Her contract is up at the end of the finals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I hope she leaves. If I'm being honest, like I wouldn't stay personally. She could do whatever she wants. It's a ton of money. Like I wouldn't stay personally because you can always leave and come back. That pop when you come back is gonna be hard. Like you go out, do your own thing, not necessarily go to like with Metal Lark, but you go to like NBC Sports and maybe have your own show. Get on the Today Show. That's what they were talking about on
football with Mike Tirico, I think, on NBC.
Yeah, football with Mike Tirico because she already does the sideline
Monday Night Football, I believe.
For college, she could do the Notre Dame games, which are always huge. As much as I hate Notre Dame, they have a huge fan base. Yeah, that's a ton of money. I mean, like, there's money to be made out there. You don't just have to stay. You don't have to stay at the worldwide leader anymore because the world is different now, right? There's like, look at fucking what's that sports show? What's that? Not fucking Barstool, right? Barstool is bigger than some of these things. Like they're Barstool channels and all this shit. As much as I don't agree with some of, you know what I mean? Like Barstool is huge. You can make your own way now, and she already has a huge name. You know what I mean? With everything that happens.
Yeah, man. I don't even follow.
I don't watch ESPN.
There used to be days where like it was Sports Center in the morning. I had to catch at 11 o'clock Sports Center at night.
At 6 o'clock. Yeah.
I had to that, and now I don't have to watch it. I don't watch it. There's no need for it. I don't even go to their website. I used to go to ESPN to read fucking sports stories. Yep. I don't need it. Now maybe I'm not as deep into sports as I was before, but I have other sources.
Twitter.
And that's just
Twitter now.
Yeah. Well, you have Twitter. That's news. That's the news for everything. Yeah. And look, what you said earlier about Rachel Nichols, by the way, what you said earlier about Rachel Nichols, she still looks good and Stephen A. Smith looks like shit. That's not to say that like that has any bearing on her talent or if she's deserving of her contract or of getting a show or not a show.
But the higher ups see
how hypocritical it is.
Yes.
That she has to look like she's 27, even though she's not.
Yep. She cannot age.
She cannot age. Whereas Stephen A., like you said, he didn't find that same barber, that same hair implant guy that LeBron found.
Yep. Let's take a second to recognize that's a great $12 million contract. Yeah, I think 30. Yeah, like something crazy because they were around that time they were trying to renegotiate. They were trying to bring
12
back
per year.
12 per year. They were trying to bring back Skip, but Skip got a huge contract with Fox Sports. Look, I prefer Skip and Shannon over First Take. I just like ever since those comments that like I'm a very with TV and entertainment, like TVs and movies, I'm a very fickle person when it comes like it was like one thing I don't like. I don't have to support you. Like I immediately cancel you, right? We're like, but I don't like tweet about it. I don't like, oh, don't watch that shit. Like, oh, I'm done with this show. Like I was done with First Take.
Tune away.
I was done with First Take after Stephen A. said that. Like I've seen domestic violence. I grew up with domestic violence. You know what I mean? Like I see one that's like
we both did.
Yeah, we did. Like when you have somebody say that, I'm immediately done with you. I don't give a fuck what else you have to say. When you say sometimes women make you mad and they deserve it, I don't give a fuck. Like, look, we're a completely uncensored podcast. We'll never say some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and he's on fucking Disney Channel. That's Disney, right? To say some shit like that. For him to take a 7-day paid vacation to come back with a bigger contract, I was done with ESPN after that. Like I watch him now for like the UFC fights, but I was like, oh, you've shown me who you are. You've shown me who you are now. I don't give a fuck what else you have to say. I'll watch your YouTube clips if it's something heat oriented or hurricane or shit like that or things that I'm interested in. That I mostly watch like ESPN FC just because I like the dynamic on there. But other than that, I don't fuck with ESPN. I don't fuck with it. But I'm not gonna go on some fucking tangent and rant and like tweet about it and say I've canceled. Like, no, you shown that. Like after that, I had nothing else for you. I had nothing else.
Yeah, and I mean Stephen A. Look, he is the definition of clickbait, right? That's what he is. He's a mouthpiece. Yes. He tries to create controversy even when there's no controversy because that's what he does.
Yes.
Which kills me when I see him in UFC, even though like I think I heard someone, and I think it was probably in the Lebatard show or somewhere where Stephen A is asking questions, trying to learn about UFC, this, that, the other.
Yeah. Ariel Helwani.
But Ariel. But
the greatest reporter
in MMA. There with the fucking luchador,
Luke Thomas.
When he went out there with the luchador mask. That's right.
Great fucking
Ariel Helwani.
Helwani
interview.
Oh my god. Him and Luke Thomas are my guys. I
don't think of Stephen A.
Yeah,
for sure. Stephen A. doesn't need to be reporting on MMA.
No.
He can report on it. He can, but like this, his ridiculous takes. It's like leave that shit for fucking for your show. I don't even.
Yeah.
For First Take, I don't even. Yeah. I try to.
Yeah, I know.
Block that name out. Leave that for First Take and whatever other bullshit you do for ESPN. But like, don't put them on MMA. Like this, don't put them on UFC fights or any other cards. Just let fighters or other analysts do their analyst thing and talk about it because they can talk about it with knowledge. They can talk about it intelligently. And then I can enjoy that back and forth instead of whatever bullshit Stephen A. Smith says. And then he'll just yell to get his point across because that apparently is,
smack how the table and shit.
You're right. The louder you are, the righter you are. I don't know.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like with Stephen A. and I was thinking about this shit. Like he's taking somebody else's job away from him, right? Like he's making $12 million a year regardless, right? I'm assuming there's like some particulars of what he has to do. I'm sure he can talk about boxing. I don't give a fuck about boxing for real. But with MMA, like these fighters,
shut your dirty mouth. Don't shit talk boxing.
I'm not shit talking boxing. I'm just saying like do that. We won't care as much. Like we're a little bit more passionate about MMA and UFC and all that shit than whoever the fuck somebody fights on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like a PBC, I've never like, oh man, did you see this PBC card? Never said that. Never.
I just rewatched the Islam Makhachev fight though.
Yeah, that's UFC. That's UFC though, right? That's again. Right. That's what. Yeah. And that was a replay.
But it wasn't a pay-per-view. It was just like I caught it on a replay. It was a UFC fight night.
Yeah, and you'll do that.
I keep up with the fights. We do keep up with it.
Yeah, we do keep up with it.
But I do watch boxing.
Watching him talk about this was like, there's especially like knowing how shitty MMA fighters get paid. I think that's why so many MMA fans have such a issue with him being there because like that's a chance for like these fighters to make real money, right? Like Michael Bisping, Dominic Cruz, DC. Well, DC has like 4 shows. Tyron Woodley. DC has like 2 shows now on fucking ESPN, so he's doing his thing. He's doing great, but now he's making his money. They don't really make their money in like it's literally the 1% of 1% that are making their money in the UFC. So like when Stephen A, who's made millions of dollars at ESPN, takes that job from somebody, that's what the reaction is, I think. I mean, and him having these comments.
So here's where I'm sure if we had thousands of people watching us, we get backlash, right? Which is, hey, Stephen A is a black man, and he's probably fought through who knows what, right? And here's the thing, fucking get all the money you can get.
100%.
Get all the money you can get.
All of it.
Stephen A, whether I like his style, which I don't, whether I like it or not, that's irrelevant. Like, yes. But his style and what he does is what ESPN is looking for and what they want, and that's great. Fucking first take.
Can't knock that.
And his hot takes. Fucking do it. You found a formula that works for you, and you found something that's gonna give you all that money. Extract all the money from them while you can until they get tired of you.
No doubt.
But fuck, dude, like, don't do MMA. Like, you can do other shit. You don't have to be involved with MMA. Like, this is not saying like he doesn't deserve it. Fucking if he deserves to be on ESPN because obviously he's a moneymaker for them.
Yes,
but
because he's controversial.
I've heard him on these MMA fights. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's controversial, and that stirs up this shit. I don't watch the show, so it doesn't work for their ratings. Like, this doesn't affect their ratings. So I was talking about it.
I wouldn't even put Stephen A in my tag. Like, fuck. Like,
but other people, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, we're gonna put that in the tags. We need the fucking views.
Yeah, we are. 100% we are.
But other people watch Stephen A just like people watch Conor. They'll fucking hate watch him. They want to watch Conor lose. People want to watch Stephen A to get pissed and call into the show and be like, I'm a fucking long-time listener, first-time caller. Fuck you, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Like, they have that, right? That happens in sports radio and talk shows.
There's more money and hate than I love. There's more money and hate than I love.
Dude,
right?
Go do something else. I don't even want to see him in boxing. Like, Max Kellerman in boxing is great. Kellerman and Stephen A in a first take.
Average at best. I
tried to watch it, by the way. Kellerman tried to do what Skip couldn't do, which he tried to bring some nuance to conversations. And Stephen A does what Stephen A does, which is he just like bulldozes and fucking yells over everyone. Yeah. Kellerman is a more thoughtful, intelligent person. I'm not saying Skip wasn't, but he tried to bring that to the conversation, whereas Skip kind of did more of the back and forth with Stephen A and whatever.
Stephen A became Skip. And Skip, if you watch him on Undisputed with Shannon, like, yeah, he still does his shitting on LeBron stuff. That's his persona, but like, he has more of a nuanced.
That's his thing.
Yeah, he has more of that's his thing. Like, that's what made him tons of money. Like, he has a more nuanced perspective on Skip and Shannon Undisputed. They have some really good. They really tackle some real world shit. Like, I appreciate Skip and Shannon a lot more than I do First Take. Like, Corey Holcomb, right? Big fan. I'm a big fan of Corey Holcomb. He was on a podcast. I meant to send you the link. Mm-hmm. And look, I can't. It's weird. These moments are like a little weird for me because like I don't want to like say it like speaking as a person who's been through those experiences, but it's weird for me to not say it. Like Corey Holcomb goes, Stephen A. Smith is just there, and I'm paraphrasing because I heard it a while ago and I've had a couple of drinks. Mm-hmm. He goes, Stephen A's just there to Stephen A's just there to be like the new Bill Cosby. Like he goes, you can't think of a time that Stephen A hasn't openly bashed another black man while also being protected by the white man that he's on that show with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it had something that happened, like his whole like you got to get off the weed and all that shit. Like his analysis. And we could tie this into the Shohei Ohtani thing. His analysis when it comes to somebody of color or somebody other than white is a little bit different, right? We're like look, if he made the Shohei Ohtani comments and was like, look, he shouldn't have an interpreter. You know what I mean? That hurts the game because like it hurts the ability for fans to get connected to him. I disagree with that, but I understand that. But where he went too far, where it was like, oh, the face of baseball should be Bryce Harper or Mike Trout. Hey, bro, like you don't see all the fucking Dominicans that play this game, like all the Cubans that play this game,
should be who? Mike Trout or who else?
Bryce Harper. Yeah, that's what he said. Like the video does not lie. That's exactly what he said. That's where I had my biggest issue. I was like, so your example was only white.
Oh my god. Oh my! Look, and by the way, look, I think that's a little unfair because because the real person that's that face of like being protected by the white person or whatever, or maybe not protected because he's lost some, is Jason Whitlock. That dude, he takes it to another level.
Hey, real quick,
I
don't ever want that name mentioned on my podcast again. That's a different level.
All right.
Yeah, fuck that guy forever. That dude
is a different level. Like, to me, yeah, Stephen A does some of that stuff, but Jason Whitlock has made a living off of that shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, of just putting down any black man or minority. And look,
he's Uncle Ruckus, bro.
The Ohtani thing.
He's Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Ohtani thing. For sure he is. Yeah, you said his name again. I was gonna say he shall not be named.
I want that to be said. I want my face on a video saying that. Fuck Jason Whitlock forever. Stupid ass hat.
But look, Stephen A. with the stuff that he said about other black men, and or minorities, and we're talking about Ohtani here, who's not a black man, but when he said the face of baseball should be Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, great baseball players. By the way, not take away from them.
Yes.
Where does the MLB have fucking academies? Where does the MLB have fucking academies?
Yeah.
In the Dominican Republic, in Venezuela, in fucking Puerto Rico, everywhere. Because I don't know what the demographics are now, but at one point in the 90s and early 2000s, it was like 40-50% of the players were Dominican, Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, foreign players, great players.
Yes.
So we have a couple of great white or American players.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the great players. We're talking about Francisco Lindor in the Mets, generational talent.
Yes.
Who fucking went to the Mets. I live in Cleveland. I'm not a fan of the Browns, but for whatever reason, you know this, I've been a fan of the Indians forever.
Yes. I know, so weird.
And maybe it's because in the 90s they had Omar
Bell, baby.
In the 90s.
Albert Bell
who was Venezuelan. No, Albert Bell and the fucking, I know, and the fucking bat. I got it.
Yeah.
But they had everybody. Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell.
Oh, Kenny Lofton, son.
I think they had Roberto Alomar.
Yeah.
Wow. Kenny Lofton. They had Carlos Baerga, who's Puerto Rican. Omar Vizquel, who's Venezuelan. Jim Thome. I mean, they were.
I mean, we had Edgar Renteria.
I love them.
I mean, Edgar Renteria.
Did they have Renteria?
No, the Marlins did when they won the World Series over
when they beat them.
Yeah, exactly. Craig Counsell, baby. Craig Counsell, 1997. All right. Yeah.
That's right.
I still remember that hit. That motherfucker jumped up.
I remember that. I was up watching that shit. And then you hear all the fucking pots and pans, all the people on the cars, hugging the horns, banging the fucking pots and pans.
Let's stay on track. Let's stay on track. Let's stay on track with Stephen A's racism.
No, but what I'm saying is, Stephen A and the crazy shit that he said about that, when so much of the league is foreign talent. And when I say foreign, I mean like Dominicans, Cubans,
diverse,
Puerto Ricans, Venezuelan, Panamanian, very diverse. And not that
greatest
there aren't
closer of all time
white players, because Mariano Rivera, who I watched on Levitard, I think he said the same thing, right? But it was funny because he would say one thing to the reporters, which is like, hey, you guys should learn Spanish. And then he would say to his players, like, hey, you guys need to learn English, speak in English in the locker room or speak in English. But he would say to the reporters, say, you need to learn Spanish. And man, I can't remember. This was on Levitard. Harold Bryant, I think it's.
Yes, Harold Bryant.
Who I saw.
Meadowlark Media.
He was telling the stories.
Mm-hmm.
And but so he was telling the stories about where El Duque, Cuban pitcher who defected from Cuba, had a translator or an interpreter, and Brian Cashman at some point said, "Hey, you need to lose the interpreter, speak English. You need to assimilate." Like, sure. I mean, I get that at some point, because when I was 6 years old and I was speaking gibberish to a friend, this kid who was the son of a friend of the family, like we still hung out and played. I was like, how the fuck did this kid still, like, we played or whatever, and he didn't like just tell me to shut the fuck up. He probably did, and I just didn't understand. It was beyond me. And so I felt like I came to the country when I was 6. I wasn't born here. I had to learn the language, and I told myself I'm not only going to learn to speak it and write it, I'm going to learn to speak it and write it better than native born.
That immigrant mentality, baby. That immigrant mentality.
That was that immigrant mentality, that fucking chip on my shoulder, the monkey on my back, whatever fucking phrase you want to throw out there.
Whatever cliche you want to say. Yep.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I mean, you're bringing these guys here, they're defecting, and you're paying millions of dollars for them to come over here. You paid for an interpreter. It's easy to learn a language before the age of 6 or before the age of 8.
Yes.
When you come over to the States when you're 29 and 35 or 32, however old he was when he came over, it's not that easy.
Our
not saying that
mothers
he's not
still
maybe
struggle
he
with
wasn't
it.
making the effort.
Our mothers still
well,
struggle
my mother
with it.
completely, for sure.
Yeah.
But she came over and she was 30, 31, something like that.
But so mine too.
Yeah.
It's
and not that it can't be done, but at the same time, like, you hired him to play baseball, you got an interpreter for him. Let's say he's making the effort to learn English, right. Great. But his priority is not to learn English. His priority is to be able to communicate with the team and throw the fucking and pitch and win games for you. And then you go out there and say, learn English, assimilate. Look, if I was El Duque, I would have been like, if this dude said this shit, like, I would have just in public been like, look, this dude is a racist.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can sue your employer. I don't know if you can negotiate for more money, but I would have used that as leverage. Like, if he flat out said that, like, why do I have to hold back? And maybe I would have said that to my interpreter.
I've never.
I told him, no, you need to say the F word. You need to say, fuck this dude.
Look, like, it's weird, right?
Like,
I've never understood, especially like after listening to that book that you recommended. Like, it's made me question more like the propaganda of assimilation. And we could talk about this on a different pod, because I know we gotta get ready to run here.
We gotta wrap it up.
But dude, like, it's so weird where, like, I could compromise with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll learn your language, but it was like, you're telling me to forget my entire heritage, everything, you know what I mean? Everything I speak. Like, it's weird, dude. Like, it's something that's permeated everything we know, where, like, until I heard Jeffrey Dahmer Jr. in that Midnight Sun show and that Midnight Sun audible, I was like, I hadn't thought of it. It was like, dude, they got their entire culture erased because of, you know what I'm saying, being taken over. It was like, fuck, man, like, that's so crazy, where you're told your history and your past isn't good enough. Let me tell you what is. That's a hard conversation to have with a lot of people, man. Like, it's weird. Like, we'll continue this on another show. Like, that's just, it's strange to be like, yeah, what you're doing and who you are as a person isn't good enough. Let me tell you what is good enough. Let me set your report.
Civilized.
Yeah, let me set your uncultured, your other, your less than. You got to get some, like, your name might be this, but now we're gonna call you Jeffrey Dahmer Jr. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna give you your name. Like, that's a little weird, bro. That's a little strange.
Your Christian name, right?
Yeah, your Christian name.
It's or your American name, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's weird, bro. All right, guys, that's all we got for episode 199. We will be back soon. My brother, you got anything else for the people?
Yeah, man. Let me summarize it. One, I don't think Rachel Nichols was being racist.
Facts.
She was just trying not to lose her show, protecting her real estate. Two, Stephen A. Smith, go get your money. But dude, fix that fucking hairline and get the fuck off MMA broadcast.
Yes. And you kind of are racist. Kind of
like, stop being Uncle Tom. Damn it, I said it. There you go.
There it is. Thank you,
dude. Stop
Jason.
Like, hey,
the other guys, Uncle Ruckus.
Stop hating on other minorities. Stop hating on other black people. You already got your money. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say. So why are you putting them down? Say other shit. You got your money already.
That
was it.
That argument, and I'll wrap it up. That argument is the whole, like, there's only so much to be had. Where, like, there can only be one. Right? Like some Jet Li type shit, the one. Like, there could only be one. This isn't a multiverse, bro. This isn't Kang the Conqueror. Like, there's tons of fucking money to be made out here. And there's tons of way to make it. So, like, shit on other people on the way up and on the way down, I can't fuck with it, man. I'll never rock with that shit. Never. Yeah. Ever. All right, man. We'll be back soon. John, you got anything else? You summarized. I re-summarized. We're out. Right? Yep. You gonna do your weird thing? There it is. There it is. You're gonna do like a point. It was weird, but that's what we're ending.